Hey Eric, can you hear us?
Yep, I hear you.
Outstanding. We are now joined by Aric Almirola, who drives that number 10 Ford Mustang for Stewart Haas Racing. We're going to go right into questions. Our first question is going to come from Woody Kane. Go ahead with the question, Woody.
Hey, Eric, appreciate your time. I know you've got Talladega on the brain, but I was hoping to get you to look ahead a week for us at Kansas, where you've had some really good runs, I think 6 top tens, but also a really wicked crash. And tell me about the racing there and what you're expecting.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed Kansas. I know that I did have a really bad accident there, but in my mind, I just view that as a bad accident that just happened at a place. Um, it just so happened to be at Kansas. It could have happened anywhere. So I don't really, put that on Kansas. And so every time I've been back since then, it's never really been a thought that's crossed my mind. And I actually enjoy going to Kansas. I have friends in Kansas City that I enjoy spending time with. That makes it even more enjoyable to be there. And then on top of that, I love the racetrack. The racetrack's a really fun racetrack to run at for me, and I've had a lot of success there and had a lot of really good runs there.
Thank you.
Yep.
Our next question will come from Claire B. Lang. Go ahead with the question, Claire.
Well, I've got sort of a light question. Tonight in the iRacing Pro Invitational, Keelan Harvick is racing Kevin Harvick. Can you pick which one you think will finish ahead of the other, given what you know about iRacing, what you know about Keelan and your teammate Kevin? What do you think? Just your guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Keelan is gonna outrun Kevin. From my experience, a husband and a father has way less time to goof off on iRacing than these kids do. So you look at guys like William Byron, not married, no kids. He's got lots of time to spend in that simulator and messing around on iRacing. It is not something that I have loads of time or experience with, just because I don't have the time. I do not have the time to devote to be good at iRacing. Because I'm trying to be, a good race car driver, but on top of that, I'm trying to be a good husband and a good dad and a business guy, and I'm trying to work out and stay fit, and life happens too. So I end up way too busy to put in the hours that these other kids do. So I'm sure Keelan gets plenty of iRacing time.
Great answer. And finally, one other quick thing on Talladega. Anything you can think of? It's such a different season right now so far that will be different at Talladega in what you expect?
No, I expect Talladega to be same old Talladega. It's going to be exciting. There's going to be a lot of close racing and pushing and shoving. There's probably going to be a big wreck, and it's just a matter of hoping that you're ahead of the big wreck or that you miss it. That's same old Talladega. We've had really good speedway cars. We obviously won down at Daytona in the duel, so our cars are fast. We know we can go there. We know we'll have capability of winning. Just got to have some luck on your side and have things go your way, and hopefully you don't end up crashed.
Thanks, man. Good luck this weekend, okay?
Our next question is going to come from Bob Pockris. Go ahead with the question, Bob.
Yeah, Eric, I know I kind of always ask you about points, but I'm wondering, Talladega, do you worry about stage points considering where you are, or are you like, man, I'm just going to protect myself and get the win that I really need?
Yeah, I've thought a lot about it, this week, and I still don't know. I think pointing our way in from here is a long shot for sure, especially that just because we haven't scored a lot of stage points anyway. And our cars have been off, so a good day for us is similar to what we ran at Richmond. We flirt with the top 10. You score a few stage points and get a top 10 finish. That's what we've been capable of lately. So I know the guys at the shop are working hard to get our cars back to where they need to be to go compete for wins every week. But that's something I've thought a lot about. I don't know that we'll be able to point our way in. We're going to need to win, and Talladega is a great opportunity for us to do that. But we can't do that if we're on a wrecker. So I think it is important for us to be mindful of that, making sure that we get to the finish so that we have a shot to win the race. And I personally think that winning at Talladega is more important than scoring 20 stage points and 2 playoff points from winning both stages, but ending up in a big wreck. So if I had to trade one for the other, I would definitely trade the win for any sort of stage points or bonus points.
And is it any more difficult to get your car to kind of understand how good your car is, considering where you end up starting because of where your point position is?
What do you mean for Talladega?
No, not for Talladega, but in general. I mean, if you're starting in between 15th and 25th, do you even get a gauge of kind of how good your car is?
Yeah,
if you were starting top 10 or something like that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Bob, that has been one of the hardest things I feel like for us as a race team, and all the struggles that we've had this year, is that it is so hard to bounce back the next week. You know, in years past, when we could go and practice and qualify and do all those things, if you had a bad weekend, as soon as that weekend was over, you debrief about it, you know, Monday, Tuesday, and then your focus is the next week, and you're going forward, and you literally forget about last week. And you can go, and if you unload and your car's fast and you qualify up in the top 5, then you've got a great starting spot for that next week's race. You got a good pit selection, and you can kind of rebound before the race even starts. Where now, if you have a bad weekend, it carries over to the next week. If you have a bad weekend and you're in the situation that we're at in points, you know, you're starting 27th, 28th, and you're picking 27th, 28th on pit road, which is not a good situation. You end up around good cars on pit road, which makes it more difficult for your pit crew. It just compounds. And I know that's the environment and the situation that we're in. It's the same for everybody, but last year, being on the opposite end of that, and you know, being up in the points and finishing good most of the time, and even when we didn't finish good, because we were so high up in points, we would still start in the top 15. It certainly makes a lot of difference. Things are a lot easier going into that next weekend, and the situation that we're in now, it just is so hard to claw out of it, because even, you know, we had a great run at Richmond. We finished 6th, but because we're so far down in points, you know, I think we're starting 14th or 16th at Talladega because of our points position. So it's really challenging to dig out of the hole that we're in, the way that the starting lineup and pit selection is calculated.
Our next question is going to come from Kevin O'Donnell. Go ahead with the question, Kevin.
Hey, Aric, how you doing?
Good.
Obviously, you just talked about the 6th place finish at Richmond. Are you feeling that things are starting to turn around, that could be a turning point for you in this season?
Yeah, I am. You know, we've needed just a weekend like that. We've needed a race to kind of go without any major issues, and, you know, have a good car, have a good day on pit road with no mistakes, me not make any mistakes, good restarts, all those things, and, you know, get out of there with a finish that we felt like we were capable of. And that's exactly what we had at Richmond. I felt like we could have run similar at Martinsville. I felt like we could have run 5th to 8th at Martinsville. And we just, you know, that bad luck that's been plaguing us most of this year was still there at Martinsville. We kept getting contact with other cars on restarts, and left rear tire rubs, and cutting the left rear tire down, pitting under green, just all of these different things that keep happening. So Richmond was finally the first weekend that went smooth, and we finished 6th. So it just goes to show me and our race team that if we can just have a smooth, solid weekend, you know, we're capable of running top 10 right now.
And how much are you looking forward to getting back to Speedway racing after 3 straight weeks on the short track?
I enjoy short track racing, so I would short track race every single week. I think it's so much fun. So yeah, I'm not opposed to continuing the streak of short track racing, but Talladega is certainly an opportunity for us. Not just because it's a restrictor plate race, and, you know, everybody always says that restrictor plate racing is an opportunity for them. But I really feel that way for us just because of all the success that we have had on restrictor plate tracks. You know, I've won at Talladega in the Cup Series, the Xfinity Series, and always seem to find myself up front with a shot to win, you know, most races there. So I really view Talladega as a place that is a potential possibility for us to go and get a win.
Thanks a lot, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Our next question is going to come from Dustin Long. Go ahead, Dustin.
Thank you. Aric, I want to ask you one thing about Kansas. It'll when the series gets to Kansas, it'll be more than a month since the last mile-and-a-half track race. Certainly time for teams to make some adjustments from early part of the season. What are you hoping with the way the organization's going to have some of its struggles on these tracks? What are you hoping to be able to see? What kind of progress? What are the things you're hoping to kind of feel in the driver's seat to kind of allow you to do some more things when you get to Kansas? And that also can, you know, take the lessons from there and maybe even grow stronger for the 600 at the end of May.
Yeah, we just got to be more racy. We got to be more competitive. I've got to be, you know, I've got to be more on offense and less on defense. I feel like our mile-and-a-half program has been off, and you know, because of that, every restart you're just playing major defense. It's hard to play offense because the car's not driving good, don't have a lot of speed in the car. You know, it's a handful, and you know, not as fast as the cars around you. So you're just playing a lot of defense. And when we've been at our best, you know, that's not the case. You fire off on every restart and you're on offense. You're picking and choosing lanes and putting your car in, you know, places where you need it to go to make passes, not to try and block a run or try and play defense. So that's one of the things that I hope to see when we get to Kansas, is that we've made improvements with our cars, that we've got speed in it, but not only speed, we've got drivability, and that we've got grip in the car to where you know, we can take off and move around the racetrack and you know, hold the throttle down. On these 550 packages on the mile-and-a-half, it is it's so important to hold the throttle down. Anytime you spend off throttle, it is detrimental, especially to the competition.
Also, in terms of speedway racing, obviously I know you won your duel at Daytona, but obviously this year's Daytona 500 running second, get wrecked. Last year's Talladega race, you're running first, you get wrecked. You know, obviously we have seen more and more in recent years that, you know, the front can be as dangerous as the middle of the pack or anything like that. When you look at, you know, how do you look at those last two races where you're running up front? I mean, there's nothing you can do, and can you also give me a sense of what it's like at the front nowadays, even more so, because obviously we've seen it where more and more accidents are happening up there on speedway races.
Yeah, it really stems from the rules package. The rules package changed after Newman's wreck and slowed the cars down, bigger rear spoilers, less horsepower. Anytime you do that, the cars are going to be closer together. You know, the draft is going to be even more of an equalizer. It's going to keep the cars a lot more bunched up and packed up, especially with that rear spoiler that we have now with the wicker on it. Creates a really big hole, so the runs from behind come a lot faster, which makes it harder to block, but also makes the guy, you know, behind you that's coming with a run, makes him get to your bumper a lot faster and a lot more aggressive than what we've had in the past. So when somebody hits you once, you can usually hang on to it. When somebody hits you twice, or they hit you off center in the bumper cover, it just takes that lead car and turns them. And usually speedway racing, it turns them to the right into the outside wall. We've seen that a lot. It's happened to me, you know, at Talladega last year, leading the race. It happened to me at Daytona running second. It's happened to a lot of the other cars. Just the guy behind, when he gets to the bumper, if he's not perfectly lined up, it will shoot that car that he runs into to the right, and especially the harder he hits him. So that rules package plays a big factor into that. And, it makes it to where nowhere is really a safe zone anymore. Used to leading and controlling the race was the ideal spot, but now the leader is equally vulnerable.
And since you mentioned that, I want to ask you this. Obviously, you've run in the Xfinity Series and you've run some races there where I think with the, they have the no locking bumper rule in the Xfinity Series. When you talk about the bumping and look, if you get hit a second time on the back or hit off center, it's going to cause issues. Would it make sense for NASCAR to consider a no locking bumper rule in Cup, or is it a case of like, look, you guys are the best of the best, you should be able to handle it, and don't create any other rules?
Yeah, I don't think they want one more thing to police. And to be honest, I think them and the networks, I think they enjoy some of the big wrecks. It's become a part of the promotion of these races, right? That when you see the highlights from Daytona or Talladega, that's usually the highlights for them. The fans enjoy seeing it, and it's become a part of super speedway racing, and people have grown to expect it. So I don't see them creating any more rules that's gonna prevent us from wrecking.
Thanks a lot, Aric.
Yep.
Our next question will come from Luciano Calamante. Go ahead with the question, Luciano.
Hey, Aric, I hope you're doing well. I just wanted to ask you, were you expecting the start of the season that you had, or maybe were you expecting something better and are you happy with it? And also, how are you and your team working to improve in terms of performance?
Yeah, well, I don't know about you, Luciano, but I've never started a project or anything else that I've expected for it to go miserably wrong. And that's exactly what's happened with our season. So no, I did not expect our season to start the way that it has. I don't think anybody on our team or any of our partners or anybody, even most of the reporters that report on our series, would have expected us to go through the beginning part of the season that we've gone through. So that was definitely something that's caught us all off guard. It's been a really rough stretch, but I'm proud of the way we've continued to fight, and we've continued to dig deep and really try and persevere. And Richmond was a nice way for us to bounce back, and hopefully we can put all those bad races behind us and we can move forward and keep the momentum going now.
Thank you, Aric. Have a good evening.
Thanks.
Good deal. Well, Aric, thank you so much for taking the time to join us, and good luck at both virtual and the real Talladega Superspeedway.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Take care now.
Have a good night.
You too.